Katsuki Bakugo was the infamous prince of the Dragon Kingdom. He always stood tall with pride. He was the only son and the next in line for the throne. The only thing that held him back from being king was finding a wife. He knew he was destined for greatness since he was young. He stood on the deck of the ship instructing his crew as the storm raged on. Waves crashed onto the ship, thrashing it around. Rain pelted down as wind thrashed things around. Bakugo's dragon, Kirishima, came to his side, holding a hand over his eyes to block out the rain. "The storm's only getting worse," Kirishima said, dodging a flying barrel. "You think I'm an idiot? I can see that," Bakugo snapped, clearly stressed. "We should try to find land," Kirishima said, wrapping his tail around a nearby pole to try and steady himself. "I know that, idiot," Bakugo said, looking out into the distance, trying to see any land. It was pointless, the rain making it impossible to see 5 feet off the ship. There was a sudden crack of lightning, lighting up the sky. The brief flicker of light revealed an island that they were sailing straight to. Thunder cracked through the air only a second after the lightning. "Continue straight for land," Bakugo instructed, glancing around at his crew, who immediately followed his command. As they got closer and closer to the island, the storm only got worse. Lightning struck on the island as if it was a warning. The wind sang as it pushed against the ship as a desperate attempt to push it away from the island. Despite the efforts of the weather, they landed their ship safely. "Drop the anchor and evacuate the ship," Bakugo instructed as he squinted at the island. Bakugo, Kirishima, and half of his crew managed to get off the ship. As Bakugo looked around for a cave or some sort of shelter to camp out until the storm was over, lightning cracked down on their ship. The thunder was loud and deafening as the ship exploded. Kirishima acted quickly, shifting to his dragon form to shield Bakugo and the remaining crew. Bakugo held his head in pain as he looked around in a daze of confusion. He saw a glimpse of something shiny and blue in the water. "Leave this place," he heard the creature say before disappearing further into the water. Bakugo looked around before blindly leading the crew into the forest. "Shift back to your human form, shitty scales." Bakugo led into a small cave. He noticed the cuts and burns on Kirishima and swore under his breath. "Get over here, shitty scales," Bakugo said, digging through his pouch that had managed to stay dry, thankfully, to his cloak. He pulled some bandages from his pouch, clearly annoyed. "Damn it, shitty scales." "Sorry, Bakugo," Kirishima said as Bakugo started to patch up his cuts and burns. "I didn't know what else to do." "It's fine. You did good. Just get some rest, all of you." Kirishima went to speak but stopped himself. He just nodded and lay down on the cold, hard ground. The rest of the crew quickly followed suit, all exhausted from their treacherous journey. As Bakugo sat and watched over for any sign of danger, the storm slowed. He faintly heard a singing that seemed to call him. He looked around at his crew and Kirishima before deciding to go investigate the singing. He followed the sound through the island, starting to hear a waterfall. As he approached the waterfall, he noticed there was an alcove behind it. He curiously went behind the waterfall into the alcove and fell seeing a beautiful mermaid. The mermaid had an icy blue tail and sharp, matching icy blue eyes. "You were singing in your alcove when Bakugo entered. Your eyes immediately shot over to him as you stopped singing. The hell are you?" Bakugo barked with crossed arms. You just stared at him before swimming off as fast as light. Bakugo watched you swim off with an irritated look. He looked around your alcove with interest. He noticed how you had a pile of trash, some of it being parts of his ship. He decided to go back to his crew. On his way, he took notice how the storm had completely stopped. Even the rain. The island seemed almost peaceful as he made his way back to the cave. Bakugo, Kirishima said as soon as Bakugo approached the cave. Bakugo's peace immediately fled as he saw the crew surrounding something. What the hell happened? I was going to inspect a sound, Bakugo said, clearly annoyed. He died. The doctor died in his sleep, Kirishima said, clenching his fist. What was the noise? A mermaid. A mermaid? A fucking mermaid, Katsuki? Kirishima snapped. You have to be kidding me. Over half of your crew is dead, and the rest is sick and hungry. Don't yell at me, Eijiro, Bakugo said dangerously. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm sorry for yelling. I'll go try and catch something to eat. You stay here and keep watching, Bakugo sighed, walking off. Bakugo wandered off to the shore, kicking rocks to calm his temper. He paused, seeing you grabbing pieces of the broken ship. You looked up at him like a deer in headlights before swimming off. Hey, get back here, Bakugo called, running into the water after you. You were already gone. And he grumbled before unsheathing his sword and stabbing into a fish swimming by. Bakugo returned to the cave with 5 fish. No one talked as they prepared their fish. But Bakugo noticed there were 2 people buried outside of the cave. It went on like that for days. Every time Bakugo saw you, one of the crew members would die. Bakugo had enough and stormed into your alcove. You were sitting in the water eating a raw fish. I don't know what type of magic you're using, but cut it out. Me and my crew have done nothing to you, Bakugo said, walking over to you. You just blinked at him as you continued eating. Don't just blink at me. No, you said, taking another bite. What do you mean, no? Yes! No. Stop saying no. No. Bakugo growled as he kicked a rock, trying to calm himself. Quit that. Why should I trust you? You said, sounding worried. Because I haven't given you a reason not to. And you haven't given me a reason to trust you either. If you don't stop, I'll kill you. The island is cursed. That's why your men are dying. At Bakugo's lack of a comeback, you smirked. The island was made as a safe place for mermaids to live with who they give permission. Then give us permission, Bakugo said, taking a step closer to you. No. We're not going to do this again. What do I have to do for you to trust me? How about walk around the shore of the whole island? Easy. Anything else? Pick up the trash you find. Whether it is in a tree or land or a sea, bring it back to my alcove. Fine. You can start whenever and wherever. Take that basket with you, though. You said, dismissively, pointing to a large basket that was slightly damaged. Fine, I'll start now. With that, Bakugo took the basket and walked off. Have fun! You giggled to yourself. Bakugo returned hours later, looking exhausted and dragging the basket full of trash. I finished your dumb task. Now stop this dumb curse, Bakugo said, kind of out of breath. You impressed me. Fine, I'll lift the curse. Come here, you said as he brought the baskets to the garbage pile. He walked over to you and crouched down skeptically. You softly hummed a song as you pressed your forehead against his. He flinched at first before letting you do your thing. Where are the other mermaids? Bakugo asked, looking around as if they were hiding. You saw this island was made as a safe place for mermaids. Gone, you said, looking away as you pulled back. What do you mean, gone? A while ago, a ship lot like yours landed, but the mermaids welcomed them. In the end, they captured most of the mermaids and killed the rest. I was the only survivor. Bakugo didn't know what to say, so he just awkwardly patted your shoulder. That's tough, man. It was a while ago, and I'm fine by myself. Still must get lonely. It does. You and your crew can stay here as long as you need. Why don't you leave? I did. Once. I got caught in a fisherman's net and barely made it out. I hate fishermen who use nets. So where are you from? I'm the prince of the Dragon Kingdom. I set sail to find a wife. A wife? Why? I need one to be king. It's stupid and I don't want a wife. Me too. How long have you been alone? He shrugged, looking over at him. Since the incident. Dang, that sucks. Couldn't help but laugh at his bluntness. Hey, why are you laughing? You're so obvious, he giggled. You're so obvious, you giggled. You're funny. I like you. You're not too bad yourself. There was silence after that. Not an awkward one, but one of understanding. You softly smiled at one you hadn't done in a long time. You're cute when you smile. You should do it more, Bakugo said, leaning back on his hands while looking up at the holes in the top of the alcove. Ew, don't try to marry me. We, literally just properly met, you said with a soft chuckle. Ew, no thanks. I'm never getting married. Isn't marriage the whole reason you should sail? Yeah, but I don't actually plan on marrying anyone. Just wait until the old hag drops it. The old hag? The queen. My mom. Is she hot? Ew, don't say that. My point still stands. What point? You were asking if my mom's hot. And by your answer, she probably is. You're impossible. I can't let Hiroshima meet you. He'll beg to take you home. Is he the dragon shifter? Yeah? How do you know? I know little amounts about who lives on my island. Like what? Race and about their age. That's kind of creepy. Oh, and sexual orientation. I don't want to get into that. So, do you see through the island? It's kind of like a sense. I can sense when a ship is getting too close, and I set out storms. That's why the storm got worse the closer we got and blew up our ship. Yeah. Sorry about that. You can use whatever materials on the island to make a new one, including the trash that's washed up. Thanks, Bakugo muttered as a slight pink dusted his cheeks as he thanked you, something he rarely did. Thanks? Ooh, and you're blushing. Don't tell me you're falling for the mermaid. You giggled, poking Bakugo's warming cheeks. I am not. It's just hot and quit it. You're cute when you flustered. Shut it before I throw you into the water. You won't. No balls. Bakugo caught you off guard by picking you up and throwing you into the water. You giggled as you swam in circles. Bakugo watched you dumbfounded before laughing. You're surprisingly strong for a princess. You're surprisingly strong for a prince. Yeah, but Bakugo stood off as the sound of footsteps approached the waterfall. I think I heard him this way, Kirishima said, Kirishima looked up at the waterfall in amusement. The two remaining crew members at his side, he paused, looking through the waterfall into the alcove, seeing a figure that looked similar to Bakugo's. Bakugo? Yeah, shitty scales. Bakugo called, looking down at Yui enjoyingly. It's just Kirishima and my crew. Well, what's left? What are you doing out here? And who are you? Is that a mermaid? Kirishima squeaked as he carefully walked through the waterfall into the alcove. The two remaining crew members followed close behind. Careful of the drop. You sighed as Kirishima took a few too many steps closer to you and slipped off the sandbar into the deeper end of the water. You quickly swam under and pulled him up to shore. You two go around. The two remaining crewmates nodded carefully, walking around on the sandbank till hitting the shore. The two went to help Kirishima, who was looking at you dumbfounded. I've never seen a mermaid before. Bakugo, can we? No, we can't keep it, dumbass. Hi, I'm YN, you said, grinning. Hi, I'm Edro Kirishima. I'm Katsuki's dragon. Katsuki? You repeated. You realized you and Bakugo that you and Bakugo don't even know each other's names. I'm Katsuki Bakugo, Bakugo muttered, crossing his arms. What about you two? You asked the two remaining crew members. I'm Yoka, one said. She had short brown hair and blue eyes. And I'm Junbi, the other whispered, holding Yoka's hand. She had longer black hair and green eyes. Yoka and Junbi. Those are beautiful names, he grinned. They said we could use whatever on the island to make a new boat, Bakugo said, something on his face almost resembling jealousy. Thank you, Kirishima said, quickly jumping up and bowing slightly. We truly owe you for your kindness. For the next month, the four of them worked on building a boat and preparing supplies. You would help with what you could, like telling them where to fish, telling them where the fish were at what times of day. Occasionally, you and Bakugo would get some time alone where you would just sit in silence. You'd often steal his cloak when he set it aside a little too close to the water. Even though he complained about you taking it and getting it wet, he never forcefully took it from you. After a month's work, they had managed to build a decent-sized rowboat and had gotten enough supplies for a month. You were halfway in the water holding a bag of treasure, including the coins from his previous ship. I'm gonna miss you, Ian, Kirishima cried, hugging you. Hey, it'll be alright, you said, patting his back. Stop getting your snot on them shitty scales, Bakugo grumbled. You noticed something in his hands that looked old and kind of rusty. Why can't you go with us? Kirishima whined as Bakugo pulled him off you. We've been over this. This is their home. It's not safe for them in the Dragon Kingdom, Bakugo said as Kirishima solemnly walked over to Yoka and Junbi. This is for you. This is for you, he mumbled, handing him the bag. Bakugo looked at the bag hesitantly before back up at you. He slowly opened the bag to reveal the treasure with shock. This has to be worth a fortune, Bakugo said, looking in disbelief. I don't have a need for it, you shrugged. Might help you on your trip. Thanks, I guess. I found this, Bakugo said, handing you a rusty necklace. It had a seashell pendant and seemed oddly familiar to you. Here. He took off his cloak, setting it next to you. You can keep it. Really? You squeaked, happily holding it close before setting it down with the necklace. Thank you. We should get going, Yoka said, looking at the sunrise. We should aim to try and reach a new island by nightfall. Yeah, Bakugo mumbled, looking back down at you, almost sad. Well, I guess this is goodbye, you said with a small smile. You knew you were going to go back to being alone after this. But you weren't too scared of what was out there to leave. But you were too scared of what was out there to leave. I guess bye, Bakugo said, awkwardly getting on the boat. No one said another word as they quietly and efficiently set sail. You watched from the shore as they rowed further and further away. Bakugo was refusing to look back at the island, not wanting to admit he'd never see you again. When he finally let himself look back, you were no longer on shore. In a quick, icy blue blur, he saw something swim right to the boat. You jumped out of the water, supporting yourself up on the boat, and gently pressed your lips against his in a kiss. Just as fast as you had come, you left. Bakugo softly smiled to himself as he watched the island fade into the distance, including you and the many men he'd lost.